Let's talk about the Olympics. Harrison wins gold, Malloy wins bronze.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be proud as a former judo Olympian, but is there a little bit, you were the only...
No.
Right?
I am so happy that I'm not at that Olympics, and I'm so happy that USA Judo is doing fine without me. I felt so much pressure before that if our team went somewhere and didn't medal, I felt like it was my fault, you know, and it would kill me. And I was really concerned about how USA Judo would be gone, you know, and especially Marty and Kayla. These girls I fought as, you know, when I was a kid, and we all came up together, and you know, me and Kayla used to like live together at the same house and train together. I remember we were always like switching around divisions. I remember I was fighting 63s, she was fighting 70s, and then what's it called? I needed to move to 70s, so she moved on to 63. So I remember I was like throwing all my pants in the hallway, and then she was taking all my old pants, and we were like switching pants, and then she was actually hypoglycemic, so she couldn't make the weight anymore. Yeah, so she just went right past me, because we wouldn't want to be in the same division at the same club. She went up to 78s. And then we threw all of our clothes back in the hallway and switched back again. And it was cool, man. And me and Marty and Kayla, like, me and Marty used to fight at junior nationals all the time. We were like little rivals when we were kids, and you know, all three of us like traveled the world together and stuff like that. And like, I'm so proud that, you know, I was able to witness the earlier part of their careers and like see that they've gone and done so many amazing things since I've left. And you know, that part of my life is over, and I've made peace with that, and I'm actually very relieved that I'm not part of this Olympics. Because I watch these people Olympics, and I'm like, wow, that is pressure, you know. And everyone's like, oh, how are you going to deal with this, you know, MMA championship thing? I'm like, look, this didn't enter my mind until March. You know, these girls have been aiming for this moment their entire lives. That's pressure. What I'm doing right now is fun. So I feel like I've moved on and done, you know, found a way to capitalize off of judo and, you know, have a life from that. The only thing I hope for them is, you know, they find a way to move on productively, because after my Olympics, I was just terribly depressed. I didn't know what to do with myself, you know. So I wish them the best in their post-Olympic lives, and I'm sure they're ecstatic and walking on sunshine right now. So I can't wait to see them.
You've blazed a pretty good trail for them. I mean, MMA has come up as a. I mean, don't you feel like this is again you setting an example for? First of all, you win a medal in the Olympics. You're the first. Now, here you are blazing a trail for judokas to go into MMA, and you almost have a blueprint for them.
Oh, well, I think we're all doing our part. I mean, I really think that judo is an amazing sport, and it's very underdeveloped and not given enough credit in the U.S. And I think that between, you know, them doing so well in this Olympics and, you know, being the best showing that the U.S. has ever had in judo, and then having judo so well represented in MMA now, I think that it's just so great for the sport itself, and you know, everyone's doing their part in keeping it alive, and it's amazing. It's an amazing, you know, discipline in martial arts, and it shouldn't be allowed to fade into obscurity.
Let's talk a little bit about this past week. You walk out with Manny Gambiri at the weigh-ins,
yeah,
and there's Dana White wearing a shirt with you on the ESPN The Body issue cover,
yeah,
not wearing much. What was that like?
I was wearing hand wraps.
That's right. That's
right. He showed me first backstage. Well, first it was like earlier that day, he like sent me a text or whatever. He was like, "Are you in LA?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be at the weigh-ins." He's like, "Okay, I got a surprise for you." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Because first, you know, I'm like, "What is it? What is it?" Because every time like Dana like contacts me at all, I'm like, "Oh my god, it's Dana White. What is it? What does it mean?" And you know, like what is the surprise? Is it a good surprise? Is it a bad surprise? Did I do something wrong? And then I got there, and what's it called? Yeah, him and Lorenzo walked up, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" Oh my god, like it was just a complete surprise. Like I didn't even know how to react to it, and it was awesome, you know, to like see them like. It really says a lot about Dana as a person, in that when I first started MMA, he publicly was saying that women would never be in the UFC, and he was totally just, you know, not for women being in MMA at all. And to see somebody, you know, just publicly, you know, completely switch like that, you know, you can tell that he's just a smart man and a smart businessman, and willing to admit, you know, that, okay, you know what, I've changed my mind. And I think that's extremely admirable of him, and I feel really honored to be a part of that, you know, and no, that is just like completely surreal for me because, just a year ago, I was just struggling to make ends meet, and was completely an unknown. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to make it so I cannot be ignored, and I'm going to make this work. And it's one thing to set your mind on something and, just to will yourself into making it happen, and then witnessing everything that you were sure was going to happen actually happen. It's just kind of like this surreal. It was kind of like this fictitious faraway point in my mind, and I never really pictured myself actually being there. I was always just constantly trying to keep myself motivated to keep it going, and I really don't feel like all the work's done yet. I feel like there's a whole lot more to do, but it's very encouraging, to see such support coming from the UFC.
How was it to be there and see Manny Gambierian win that fight?
Oh my God. I get so stressed out, especially Manny fights, more than anyone else. I mean, if anyone I care about fights, I already flip a lid. I have a reputation for freaking out. But I mean, it's like, there's no feeling of helplessness of seeing someone that you really care about, someone's trying to kill them with their bare hands right in front of you, If the only thing I can do to help is scream, I'm going to scream my head off. Everyone's looking at me like, you're too loud. I'm like, you know what? Everyone else in here is too quiet. These guys are trying to kill each other. What are you doing? It's not golf. Yes, hello, this is very, very nice. I'm going to freak out because someone's trying to hurt my friend. What else should I do? Should I sit there and eat popcorn? No, I'm going to lose my mind. So I did, and he won, and that's awesome.
How is that when someone you train with as much as you do and you roll with, and you're obviously really close with him and you're good friends, and he talked last week about possibly being in your corner, and he's freaked out about it. He's getting really worked up about it. What's it like to watch someone in that situation?
No, it is a feeling of helplessness, that it's hard to deal with. Manny was working with me before I even started doing senior competition in judo, before anything, and he wanted to do it for free. He would come in and open Hyaston every afternoon and come to work with me. My mom forced him to take $35 a day or something small like that, just for gas, and he was always just so selfless and helpful towards me that, I feel like I owe him so much. When I first started doing MMA, he was like, Ronda, I can't be in your corner. Never ask me how to do this. Da, 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 da. But, I've been training with him for so long, and he's such a good training partner for me that, I asked him this time, like, Manny, can you do it for me? He's like, all right, I'll try. So, well, I think it's going to be great. It's going to come full circle like that. We went from, doing judo and, a gym that was, a quarter of the size of this a decade ago, more than that, 15 years ago, and look where we are now. It's surreal, and I feel very blessed that I've been able to go through that entire journey with somebody, such a good person like Manny.
Boxing and sparring seems to be a pretty big part of your training. Who have you guys brought in, and what's the arrangement you have with Lucia Riker?
Lucia brings in this girl, Dana, who's like a 15-1 boxer that I've been doing a lot of my sparring with. We also have Roxy and this other girl, Tiffany, coming in, who are, very reputable Muay Thai girls. And for the last camp, we were fighting Misha, who was a wrestler, so I did a lot of wrestling. And then for this camp, we're fighting, Sarah, who's a striker, so I'm doing a lot of striking sparring. And I want to assume that the person I'm fighting is in the best, shape and condition and that they're ever going to be in. So I'm going to be overly prepared for the best that they could bring. And so I've been trying to push myself and go with strikers that are better than she is, And I really feel like that if I can have a comfort level with people that I feel like can push me more than Sarah could, then I just always try to overcompensate. And I want my training to always be harder than the fight itself. And these kids that I train with here, Edmund and Gore and Leon, they technically I think are better than any of the girls out there, but because they're still growing, that they're more of a comparable strength level. I don't have to worry about them fighting my head off yet. But I think in a couple years when they start putting on a lot of muscle, they're going to be coming back for revenge on me. So I'm a little worried about that. But I'm very fortunate. I've had a very good camp and no problems, no injuries, and I'm ready for anything that she could bring out.
Thoughts about Sarah Kaufman? What do you see as far as her fighting skills and as an opponent against you?
I think she's she's very skilled striker and that she's very disciplined and her technique is very good. I don't think that she's very overly creative in that every single fight that I see her, I see pretty much a very same version of her every single time, and she doesn't seem to adapt very much in the middle of fights. But what she has, she does it very well, and I'm also going to be prepared for, she could come out and do something entirely different just because it's me. So I kind of say all the time that I'm like the anti-Greg Jackson, where they all have, their camp has all these plans and all these, things set up in place beforehand. I always walk in with an open mind, and I only have options, and I know what their tendencies are to do, and I train to react to those things, but I'm always open to anything can happen. And I always try to be able to, adjust and change independently within every fight.